The John LeBang Show has been known to make people laugh, sing, think, scream, throw things in rage, and generally lose their minds. Listener discretion is advised.
Scheduled programming to bring you a show on the edge, broadcasting worldwide and out to the greater universe. You're listening to the John LeBang Show.
Well, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. 6 weeks since we've been behind this mic. Took a little summer vacation. You got to hear all those cool specials that you guys are always chiming for, so that's what we give you in our time off. And I want to tell you, I really appreciate you stopping in, as we've got a lot on the docket here on our 300th episode of the John LeBang Show. And I mean, I am so humbled that I've been able to do this for so long and have many of you who have been with me since the very beginning when I was doing this on YouTube on, 2012 we began this broadcast with a 13 episode first season. And all of a sudden we've reached 300 episodes. I'm flabbergasted. And all the things that have happened between then and now. The many stations that we're affiliated with on a syndicated basis. We would have never thought this would have happened when we began this on YouTube years ago. We were getting good enough numbers there. We didn't think we needed to expand. But there was a little bit of reason why we expanded into internet radio, and it's been for the better. Because we have many great affiliate stations that back us and support us and promote us and talk about our show. Those owners that own those stations deserve a lot of credit for hanging in there with us through the ups and downs. We've seen our numbers skyrocket, and in some stations they don't show up at all, and these stations still continue to put our show on their network, and we really appreciate it. At last count, with all our stations, we're reaching about 100,000 listeners a month. Now, to the big boys, that's really nothing. They knocked that out in the first 10, 15, 20 minutes of their first hour. But for somebody who began on YouTube, who has no educational background in the radio industry, always wanted to be in the radio. We did DJing when we were younger. But to expand into this format, this platform, the way we have, has been an amazing journey. And I want to thank every person who's been with me from the very beginning, everyone who was just tuning in for the first time, and all the people in between who constantly come back on a regular basis, listen in, send us emails, tell us we're doing great, thanking us for the information that we give you. So I want to give my big thanks to all of you. You have no idea how much I appreciate the support that you give me. I don't always say it, ladies and gentlemen. I don't always say it because there's a lot going on that we talk about. And we try to give you as much information each and every hour as we can. We don't try to shortchange you. We try to pack them full. So sometimes we forget to thank our listeners. We also have these great stations that not only do you have to thank the owners as a radio host like myself for doing such a great job and backing us the way they do, but the fact that they're carrying independent stations and they're all over the world and they're doing what they want to do is an amazing feat, and I want to thank them for putting the effort in, not only in helping the show get bigger and bigger, but for even being there and doing their own thing, because that's one of the biggest things that we promote here on the John LeBang Show, and that's individualism, working hard to get where you want to go. We don't believe in those free lunches. We don't believe in getting things for free. And that's why we'll do video promos for the different stations that put a lot of time in. The stations that don't put a lot of time in, we give them a chance, and if they can't hang in there for whatever reason, we regrettably have to let them go. But we're here because, as I spoke earlier, we started on YouTube and we were getting great numbers there, but the numbers began to drop. The numbers began to fall, not by any doing that we might have been involved with. It's not like we give you bad reporting. We've made some mistakes in the past, and hopefully we've corrected all the mistakes we have made. But we were one of the first people on YouTube especially that faced that shadow banning. And that was going on with a lot of different alternative media types. And we've seen recently with the Alex Jones thing, him being not only shadow banned, they said, the heck, we don't want to go that far. We want to go even further. And they've deplatformed Alex Jones and InfoWars on every kind of media there is. Every kind of media there is. Facebook, he's gone. YouTube, he's gone. Now Twitter, he's gone. That just happened. Twitter wasn't going to get rid of him, but then they did. Now Apple does the same thing with his app. You can't use the app to get to the Alex Jones site anymore. And they give you this garbage. This garbage that Alex is giving objectionable content. That's what Apple put out. And he's violating other content policies on these other sites. I'm no fan of Alex Jones. We have a little fun with him every once in a while. We make fun of him here on the broadcast. But when you say objectionable content, or it's violating the policies of the platform, then why don't you apply that across the board to everybody, not just the ones you consider on the right there. We're not supposed to see nudity, but there are breastfeeding videos on YouTube with women and their boobs hanging out while they're breastfeeding. But there's supposed to be no nudity. But that's not offensive content. That's not objectionable content. You can go to certain race groups who preach damn near violence. Damn near violence. Maybe not saying go out and lynch that sucker. But they're close. And they're still up on YouTube. So I feel for Alex Jones. And if we don't say something right now, if we don't stand up and say, hey, this is bogus what you're doing, because you're creating a reason to get rid of one of the biggest voices in the alternative media, like him or not. And I'm not a fan of Alex Jones, but I realize that Alex Jones was the largest voice on the alternative side. Like it or not. There's a lot of other guys out there that they've played it a little closer to the vest. Alex gets hot-headed. We understand that. I get a little hot-headed sometimes. But Alex goes off the rail, makes wild accusations, claims, very much like the president at times, very much like a lot of people on the left of the aisle do as well. You got to remember, the people on the left were the ones who started the 9/11 truth movement. They were the conspiracy theorists back in 2001. Remember, inside job. Did you think that came from a right-winger? No, that came from the left-wingers because Bush was in office. And the reasonable people who would technically be on the right read the information, absorbed the information, and said, hey, maybe you're right. It might not have gone down the way you said. Speaking of 9/11, we're going to talk about that a little later on in the show because we're coming up on the 17th anniversary. But here you get Alex Jones deplatformed across the board, almost all in the same day, except for a couple other social media sites that waited a week or 2, 3 to ban him as well. They didn't want to look like it was some sort of collusion. Although when you objectively look at the situation, that's exactly what is happening. It is collusion within the social media platforms because they're all connected. You want to know why they're all connected? You think Twitter and YouTube and Facebook and all these other social media platforms are independent from each other? You're full of crap. Want to know that? Want to know why I say that, ladies and gentlemen? Want to know why I say that? And it's because when all these platforms decide to change something up, they do it almost simultaneously across the board. And you can easily link your logins from one site to another. Oh, you can log in with Facebook if you want to use this other site. You've seen it all before. So you know they're all interconnected. So this illusion that they're independent of each other is a fallacy. And because of that fact, when we notice, when we find out, when we see that they take out one of the largest voices in alternative media, Alex Jones, virtually at the same time, in one giant swoop, you have to call that collusion. And because Alex Jones, and I'm talking about the alternative media, including myself, the alternative media was the one who helped get Donald Trump elected, and they were vital in that. They were the biggest voices, not Fox News, not these right-wing radio stars like Rush Limbaugh and Hannity. It was the alternative media that got the word out about Hillary. And it's amazing that we had to do such hard work and put in overtime to expose Hillary Clinton when it should have been common knowledge how big of a scumbag she is, but it wasn't. Many people didn't think Hillary was a dirtbag. You see, but I faced this before Alex Jones, and nobody said a damn word about it. In 2007, I came out on YouTube. I was getting 10,000 views, 5,000 views. I've got a few that have 20 or 30,000 views. Not millions. But then the Boston bombing happened. And I produced a video of Family Guy. You know that TV show, The Family Guy, where it looks like they were pretty much predicting the Boston bombing. That's right. And I was knocked off of YouTube for 6 months. And then when I came back after that 6 months, when my penalty was over, I still couldn't monetize. And the videos that I produced after the fact,